This is in reference to Lawrence O'Donnell's MSNBC show on Tuesday, January 27th, 2015. Good news for President Obama because he is now more popular than he was before. And when he was down, the Republicans put him down and tried to keep him down as much as possible. But now the economy is recovering a little bit. We still need more jobs. We still need better paying jobs. We still have a lot of people who are not even looking for work that need jobs. We need to have a higher minimum wage, et cetera, et cetera. But with Obama's popularity now approaching 50% and possibly going a little bit higher if the economy continues to grow as it has grown, and it has grown fairly steadily for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, not as much as we'd like, but yes, it has been steady, is that the Republicans during the election of 2014, everything was against Obama. They were going to run against Obama because the Affordable Care Act was going to die under its own weight. There was going to be massive inflation. There was going to be high interest rates. That we needed to cut Obamacare out tooth and nail, root, etc. So the question is, what are Republicans going to be running against now that they have? Now that Obama is having a revival, being more popular, and what are their talking points going to be? Now, I noticed at the Freedom Summit and some of the other, especially Boehner and McConnell, have been throwing out these talking points that the economy for the average working person is going to go has done worse during the last couple under Obama than it has at any other time. Well, they're doing worse right now, or that the discrepancy between rich and poor has grown during Obama, and of course it has. And of course, what they don't say is it's because of the policies that they've created and the policies that have been in place, the austerity policies. The taxation, which they will not address. They will not address raising taxes in any way. See, those are the things that are contributing to it. But getting back to Lawrence's show a little bit, is that, what are their new talking points going to be? Because if they're just going to talk about that we need to help the poor, that we need to help the middle class, and all it's going to be is that we need to reduce taxes on the rich, we need to cut back regulation, that's just more of the same. That may work. Of course, it may not work. You really need to have some really slick-talking Republicans to say all that stuff. So Lawrence had a couple of people on, and they talked about the fact that what I had mentioned a little bit earlier is that Billy has endorsed, given a quasi-endorsement from Rush Limbaugh's endorsement of Scott Walker, who seemed to have a breakout at the Iowa Summit. Especially with the fact that he's been elected 3 times in 4 years in a blue state. It is a blue state, but remember, they did have a complete Republican legislature, and that the press is very favorable to Scott Walker, both in the printed press and in the radio there. And he does have some scandals. He is tying into the Koch brothers, but remember, his jobs is 35th. They also went in to talk about Chris Christie. Chris Christie's jobs numbers are even worse. They both have scandals. Chris Christie has a big problem. That's one problem. But also, he has a huge ego, and he really does not like anyone to tell him anything, and he really will go after people. But but they really didn't get into how they're going to attack each other, how one of them is going to stand out. There is talk that Mike Pence might get into it. I've talked about Pence a little bit himself, but he's just endorsed some ACA stuff, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, in some way that their state is going to allow some of that to come in, so that they can get some of that money for that. And like I said, I don't know. All I can say is, as long as Barry still stays popular, as long as he can continue to go after progressive ideas in terms of minimum wage, in terms of increasing help for the environment, in terms of climate change, in terms of helping the middle class, in terms of free college education for kids in their first 2 years, then all of that stuff is going to wear thin on the Republicans, because they don't have as much a response now as they had before the election, because the Affordable Care Act is working. It's working in a lot of Republican states, and the economy is doing better, which is everything that they ran against. So all I can say is, keep going, Barry. Keep going long.